The morning began like any other, until the sun vanished. One moment, golden rays poured through the sleepy town of Brindleford, warming rooftops and glinting off cobblestone streets. The next, an unnatural shadow swept across the sky, as if an invisible hand had snuffed out the day. Birds stopped mid-song. Children froze in their games. And in the eerie stillness, every villager felt the same thing, an icy shiver crawling down their spine. 14-year-old Ilara stood in the town square, clutching a basket of apples, her wide eyes reflecting the sudden darkness. "It's not an eclipse," she whispered to herself. She had seen one before, slow, gradual, gentle. This was different, instant, absolute. The air felt heavier, charged with something ancient and wrong. Then came the sound, a slow, echoing laugh that seemed to drift from every direction at once. It was cold and sharp, the kind of laugh that lingered long after it ended. Ilara spun around, but the marketplace was empty. People had fled indoors, bolting doors and shuttering windows. From the blackened horizon, a thin beam of orange light shot upward, like a candle's flame in a storm. It swirled and twisted before fading into nothing. Ilara felt her heart pound. That light came from the mountains, the forbidden peaks where no one dared go. Her grandmother's voice echoed in her mind. "Beware the Wraith Witch of Dusk Hollow. She thrives where the sun fears to shine." Ilara didn't want to believe the old stories. But as whispers spread through the town, rumors of an ancient witch who could drink the sun's light, she felt a certainty settle in her bones. Someone had stolen the sun and it wasn't coming back on its own. That night the darkness didn't lift. Torches burned in every home, but their flames felt weaker, more fragile. Crops began to wither in the fields. The cold deepened. Ilara's father wanted the family to leave for the coast, but something inside her refused. She remembered the orange light, the laugh, and the fear in her people's eyes. She couldn't run. When she closed her eyes, she saw the witch, though she had never met her. A tall, thin figure draped in tattered black silk, hair floating like smoke, eyes burning with stolen sunlight. Ilara didn't know how she would do it. She didn't know if she would survive. But she knew one thing with unshakable clarity. She was going to the mountains, and she was going to steal the sun back. The hunt for the Witch of Dusk Hollow had begun. The mountains loomed like jagged teeth against the starless sky. Even in the pitch-black darkness, Ilara could feel their presence, cold, ancient, and unwelcoming. Brindleford had always treated the Forbidden Peaks as more myth than reality. People spoke of them in hushed tones, telling stories of travelers who never returned. The old maps marked them with only a single phrase: "Here the light dies." But now, with the sun gone, their silhouette stood stark against the horizon, as if daring her to come closer. Ilara packed lightly, a cloak for the cold, her father's hunting knife, a rope, a loaf of bread, and the smallest lantern she could find. The flame inside flickered weakly, fighting against the oppressive darkness that pressed in from all sides. She tightened her grip on the handle and began to walk. The first mile out of Brindleford was silent, the only sound her boots crunching on frost-bitten earth. The air smelled of pine and snow, but beneath it lingered something else, a faint metallic scent like iron. Halfway up the winding trail, she heard it, a slow rustling, just beyond the edge of her light. She froze. "Who's there?" she called, her voice trembling. A shadow stepped into view. It was not the witch. It was a boy. "Heading to the peaks?" he asked, his tone somewhere between curiosity and disbelief. Ilara nodded cautiously. "Why?" He smiled faintly, though there was no warmth in it. "Because you'll need someone who's been there before." His name was Kyle, and he claimed to be a tracker. He told her he had followed strange lights in the mountains for weeks, long before the sun vanished. "I've seen her," he said, eyes narrowing. "Not clearly, but enough to know she's real." They moved together up the trail, the cold growing sharper with each step. Wind clawed at their cloaks and frost began to cling to their hair. The trees thinned until only jagged rock and ice remained. Then they saw it, a tower impossibly tall carved from black stone, standing alone in a valley of shadows. Its spire twisted upward like a claw grasping for the absent sun. At the top, a faint orange glow pulsed, like the dying heartbeat of daylight itself. "That's where she keeps it," Kale said, his voice low. But before Ilara could answer, the ground beneath them trembled. From the darkness at the valley's edge, shapes emerged, thin, twisted creatures with eyes like burning coals. The witch had sent her hunters, and they were already closing in. The creatures moved with unnatural speed. Their limbs too long, their joints bending the wrong way. In the glow of Alara's trembling lantern, their skin glistened like black glass, reflecting shards of the dim light. Each one bared needle-thin teeth as they circled, their eyes burning like embers in a pit of coal. Kale stepped in front of her, drawing a short, curved blade from his belt. "Don't let them touch you," he said, his voice sharp. "They're shadows made flesh. The witch breeds them from night itself." The first one lunged. Kale sidestepped and slashed, the creature dissolving into smoke with a hiss. Alara's heart pounded as another rushed toward her. She swung her father's hunting knife wildly, catching it across the arm, or what passed for an arm. The thing staggered, then melted into the dark. But more kept coming. Their bodies slithered out of the surrounding gloom, their movements almost fluid. "We can't fight them all," Kale barked. "We need higher ground." They scrambled up a jagged slope, boots slipping on ice. The hunters followed, scrambling on all fours like spiders. One leapt, nearly dragging Alara down, but Kale yanked her forward at the last second. The two of them tumbled into a narrow ledge between two slabs of rock, barely wide enough to stand. The hunters halted, clustering at the base of the rocks. They hissed and paced, but didn't climb. Alara's chest heaved as she realized why. There were faint markings etched into the stone, glowing softly in the dark. "Wards," Kale murmured. "Old magic. We're safe here. For now." Alara ran her fingers over the carvings, spirals, suns and strange symbols she didn't recognize. The stone felt warm under her touch. The first warmth she'd felt since the sun disappeared. "Who put them here?" she asked. Kale's gaze hardened. "The same people who fought the witch 100 years ago. They failed, but maybe their magic can still help us." Below, the hunters began to retreat, melting into the shadows as quickly as they had appeared. But their departure didn't bring relief, because now, in the valley beyond, a deep, echoing voice rolled through the air. It wasn't laughter this time. It was a whisper, low and cold, that seemed to speak directly into Alara's mind. "Come closer, little thief. Bring your courage. Bring your fear. I'm waiting." The glow atop the black tower flared brighter now, almost beckoning. Alara's fist tightened. The witch knew she was here. And she wasn't hiding. The tower rose higher with every step they took toward it, until it felt less like a building and more like a mountain, carved into the shape of a claw. Its surface drank the light from Alara's lantern, leaving only the faint, eerie pulse of orange at the very top. Kale moved cautiously, scanning the ground as if expecting more hunters to appear. "She built it here for a reason," he murmured. "The entire valley is steeped in old magic. Every stone's been touched by it." As they drew closer, Alara noticed the air shifting, growing warmer, heavier, almost suffocating. The frost that coated the rocks vanished, replaced by slick, black moss that seemed to writhe when touched by light. A bridge of bone stretched across a chasm to the tower's gate. Its supports were carved from the rib cages of enormous beasts Alara couldn't name, and the wind made them groan like distant drums. Halfway across, she felt the bone flex beneath her feet. "It's moving," she whispered. Kale's jaw tightened. "Don't look down. Just move." They made it across, but the gate was worse. Two massive doors of obsidian, each engraved with a blazing sun that had been split down the middle. The crack between them glowed faintly from within, and Alara felt a pull, as though the very light of her lantern wanted to escape her and join whatever burned inside. Pushing the doors open was like forcing through a wall of water. Heat rolled out thick and humid, carrying the scent of smoke and strange flowers. Inside, the tower's walls shimmered, not with gold or jewels, but with glass panels that trapped shifting scenes of daylight. A meadow in spring, a child playing in sunshine, the glint of waves at dawn. All stolen, suspended like insects in amber. Alara stopped, her throat tightening. "She didn't just take the sun," she whispered. "She's been taking pieces of days." "For years." Kale touched one panel, his face grim. "She feeds on them. That's why she hasn't aged." Their footsteps echoed up a spiral staircase, each step warmer than the last. The orange light above grew brighter, almost blinding, until they reached a landing where the floor opened into a wide circular chamber. And there she was. The Witch of Dusk Hollow stood at the center, cloaked in black silk that fluttered without wind. Her hair floated like smoke, and her eyes blazed with the stolen sun, burning with the fury of 1,000 mornings. She smiled slowly. "Welcome, little thieves. You've come so far to give me what I desire most." Alara swallowed hard. And what's that? The witch's smile widened. Your daylight. The heat in the chamber was unbearable, as if the walls themselves were on fire. Above the witch's head floated a sphere of blinding light. The heart of the stolen sun. It spun slowly, radiating a warmth that made Alara ache with longing. Kale shifted beside her, his blade ready. We take the light, we end this, he whispered. The witch laughed softly, the sound curling like smoke. You think the sun is a stone you can snatch from my hand? It is bound to me now. To take it is to face the night that lives inside me. She lifted her arms and the glass panels in the walls shattered. The trapped daylight within them erupted into streams of gold and silver, swirling around her like ribbons. Each one shimmered with stolen moments. Sunlit laughter, the sparkle of water, the glow of dawn on a child's face. Alara's knife felt small in her hand, but she stepped forward anyway. You don't own the day. It belongs to everyone. The witch's smile vanished. Her cloak unfurled like wings of shadow, and from its folds, more hunters poured forth, dozens of them, hissing and twisting. Kale charged, cutting them down, while Alara dodged and fought her way toward the sphere. Every step closer made her vision blur. The light was too bright, too pure, as if it saw inside her and was deciding whether she was worthy. The witch appeared in front of her in an instant, moving faster than thought. You want it? The witch hissed. Then take it. Her hands shot out, seizing Alara's wrist. A wave of cold surged into Alara's body, dragging her mind into darkness. She saw endless night, stars dying one by one until only the witch remained. But then, she remembered the wards carved into the rocks, the warmth they gave. She remembered the villagers' faces lit by the last rays of day. She remembered her grandmother's voice. Light is not just in the sky. It is in the heart that refuses to give in to the dark. With a cry, Alara twisted free and drove her knife into the sphere's base, not to destroy it, but to break the chain of shadow that tethered it to the witch. The chamber exploded in light. The hunters dissolved into smoke. The witch screamed, her form shattering like glass, scattering into the wind. When the light cleared, the sun rose outside, warm, golden, and free. Kale stood beside her, breathing hard. You did it. Alara looked at the horizon. We did it. And if the dark ever comes again, we'll be ready. The first morning in a long time washed over the valley, and Brindleford, bathed in sunlight once more, would never forget the girl who stole the sun back.